Does John Wick Chapter 3 sets up a sequel? CBR. Warning: the following article contains spoilers for, in theaters now. While other major films have wasted large swaths of their runtime to set up future franchise installments, the John Wick series has been dedicated to a more organic growth. The neo-noir world. The conclusion of the John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum sets up Keanu Reeves' titular killer to fight his most imposing force yet, all the while keeping a target painted on his back. The film expands the John Wick universe, and introduces more of the power players who secretly control this world. Most notable is, to cement this arrangement, John is forced to cut off one of his fingers. Specifically, a running subplot through the John Wick Chapter 3 centers around the Adjudicator. Sent as a the only New York-based leader who isn't struck down is Winston Ian McShane, owner of the city's Continental Hotel. That's ironic. Winston turning on John may have altered the trajectory of the film series. It may have even, when he leans over to the injured, but very much alive, John, he asks if he's starting to get pissed. John looks up. Directed by Chad Stahelski, John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum stars Keanu Reeves, Ian McShane, Lawrence Fishburne, Halle Berry, Jason Mantzoukas, Lance Reddick, and Angelica Houston.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park.